Let's fucking go! Go! Let's fucking go, mate! Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Go!
This is gonna be a little different than we usually do. This, as the title suggests, I just want to, I want to discuss something, talk about something that nobody is... I've seen a few people talk about it, but nothing is really getting done, and I feel like if we had more people come forward, maybe we could actually force things to get done. And honestly, they'll probably prove my point by removing this video, or hell, it might not even get seen, but by like 3 people. But this is something that has been an issue for a very long time. I've even seen big, you know, million subscriber creators talk about it. And before I really get into it, I want to make something very clear, that this isn't about me being upset that my channel isn't exploding. It's not blaming YouTube for my videos not getting seen. That's honestly not even a big portion of what this is about. Views are not the issue. There's something much bigger that needs to... something much bigger that needs to be worked on, and things are only going to get worse if we don't start doing something now. Like, I'm not saying that YouTube is evil, that every decision they make is wrong. I've been on this platform for many, many years, as I have stated in multiple videos. I've spent countless hours. I mean, I've spent countless hours making videos. I've spent countless hours editing. I mean, recording, building a community, and trying to grow. And YouTube has given creators an opportunity that didn't exist for most of us before. And I don't want to tear it down. I want it to get better. But we can't do that. One person can't do that. Fucking 3,000 people can't do that. It's gonna take a lot of us to make that happen. And that's what Project Fuck YouTube is. Yes, the name is intentionally ironic, I promise. But what I want, the goal of this video and the goal of this this project, is to get creators talking about the problems that have become so common that they've started being treated as normal, and they shouldn't be normal. So, one of the biggest problems, right? One of the biggest problems is the increasing reliance on automated systems to police what creators upload. And before someone says that YouTube already has human reviewers, yes, they do. I get that. But that's not the problem that I'm here to discuss. I mean, it's part of the problem, but it's not the full problem. I'm acknowledging that we have human reviewers. Um, YouTube itself says that when a content decision is appealed, a human reviews the appeal on a case by case basis. Um, my question though, and the question you should be asking, right? How effective is that human review when the consequences are enormous and the process isn't transparent? See, I just experienced, uh, probably a few weeks ago, I experienced something that really doesn't make sense, and it's happening to everybody. That's the problem. But I uploaded a video that is roughly an hour and a half. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes. Um, and the beginning of the video is me and Boxman sitting around. We're talking shit, just having fun. Um, we're talking about what we're gonna do, what the video is gonna be. Nothing inappropriate, nothing sexual. It's literally nothing different than how any of our other videos start, how any of our other videos are. I get it that my intro has a bad word in it. Oh no, but that's never been a problem before. Um, I say fuck probably a total of 100 times through every video that I do, and most of them get cut out in editing. Um, it's bad, I know. I'm sorry. But I'm also not a children's channel. I don't claim to be a children's channel. That's what YouTube Kids is for anyway. That I'm not here to appeal to a younger audience. I'm here to appeal to people my age. That's just my deal. I don't want to be a fucking Minecraft YouTuber. Like, if you do that, that's fine. I just find it weird. I feel weird doing that. I don't want to be a 30-year-old man making weird children's content for, underage people. I'm not knocking you if you do. Okay? That's not me. But, whatever. Back to the story. I'm sorry. So, whatever. Either way, nothing remotely resembling adult content. But when I uploaded it, the video got flagged. And give me a second, I will read out the email for what it got flagged for. This is the first email that I received as soon as it uploaded. Your content was age restricted. Content that discussed or depicts suicide or self-harm in a graphic manner or promotes eating disorders may be removed or age restricted if it's not appropriate for all audiences. Um, Now, I don't know exactly where any of this came from because sometimes we do talk about. I'm trying to figure out how to put this in YouTube friendly language so this doesn't get taken down and they prove my point. We joke about offing ourselves from time to time. Um, so in that video, we were trying to get a trophy where you jump off the tallest building and land in a fountain that's in the center. Now, we never made a joke at that point. We never did make any jokes about that. Honestly, I don't remember any jokes, period. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. So, I submitted a repeal or an appeal, and when you appeal, YouTube's own uh, policy is that it gets reviewed by a human within under a minute. I have the timestamp here. So the original email came in at 8:34. The appeal rejection came in at 8:47. Um, which means that the appeal rejection would have taken less than a minute, including the automated email, the email being sent, and me receiving it on my end. Now, here's the problem. The appeal was age restricted because certain types of adult sexual content, such as nudity, sexual acts, sexual audio, or sounds, including explicit language or narratives, and excessive profanity or lewd language. What? Now, once again, here's the problem. 3 minutes. If this is appealed by a human, how did they review this in 3 minutes to tell me that now there's a whole new reason? This video is an hour and 20 minutes long. So in under a minute, you're telling me a human found that. Now, this is where I have the problem. That's why we're here. Well, there's more to it than this, but this is the first issue that I wanted to talk about. I'm not gonna sit here and claim I know exactly what happened, like how they do their appeals, but you can't tell me that a human reviewed the appeal in under 3 minutes. Now, I'm willing to take their word that they do have human reviewers. I'm sure they do, but I I need to ask one question, and it's a very simple question. What exactly was reviewed? You know what I mean? Like, if my if my video is almost 2 hours long and my appeal is rejected in 3 minutes after I submit it, I want to know what part of that video resulted in the decision. You know, I want timestamps. I want the policy, like the legit policy. Don't just fucking lay it out with a vague, it could have been this, that, it could have been this one. No, I want the exact policy. I want to know exactly what was reviewed. If the reason changed, I want to know why. You know, these aren't unreasonable requests. This is what any normal person, okay, so you at your job, right? If you get pulled into your boss's office and he starts chewing you out, and you want to know why, but he just vaguely reads off random policies, right? That doesn't help you, you know. So let's say you work as a janitor, right? And you start getting chewed out for policy 3, fucking low quality work or insubordination. Well, that's great. you ask what exactly you're doing wrong, and he reads off another section of policies that still don't answer your question. If you don't know what you're doing wrong, you can't fix it. So when you lay out that my video could have violated these guidelines, but don't tell me what exactly it did or which specific guideline it violated, how the fuck can I make it right? Like if it's the profanity, then I need to know that so I can, stop saying the F bomb so much. And I'll, try and do better. I'll fucking clean up my videos a little bit. If it was some kind of suicide reference, let me know what I said and I will own up to it. I don't, you know, or I'll take the video down and cut that out and re-upload it. But like I need to know what exactly I did. I need to know what policy was violated. Don't just give me the entire booklet and tell me to read this page that has 7 different things on it that I could have possibly violated. See, that's the problem, is you're not telling me that it was violated. The email you send was there was a possible violation. So why am I getting in trouble if there was a possible violation? Why are you restricting or even completely removing content for a possible violation? So, and look, I want to make it very clear that we all know that YouTube has implemented an AI system, but AI isn't the problem. Unaccountable AI is the problem. We, if something happens, they don't have a support team for you to contact anymore. You just have to take it. If something is removed or if something goes wrong, there's nobody you can reach out to. But I want to make it clear that I don't think AI is the problem, even with all the hate it gets. It can be useful because look, let's face it. AI can be used to scan millions of videos. Use it to identify possible or potential violations. Use it to flag something for a human to investigate. That's fine. But when an automated system becomes so deeply embedded in the enforcement process that a mistake can potentially affect someone's livelihood or before they can meaningfully defend themselves, that's a fucking problem. See, that's where we're at. So, but YouTube's own transparency system demonstrates just how enormous the scale of automated enforcement is. I mean, millions upon millions of videos are processed and removed through systems that operate at a scale that no human could possibly keep up with. I mean, and that's understandable when you have something that size. I mean, I figured, so, but That's exactly why human oversight matters, though. Is because when you're dealing with millions of decisions, false positives aren't a question of if, they're a question of how many. Okay? Uh, and when the consequences of a false positive are the video gets removed, gets age restricted, monetization disappears, channel gets a strike, or your entire channel gets terminated, then the appeal system isn't a luxury, it's a literal safety net. And for some people who have spent many years of their life, you know, uh, these people have put so much time and money not only into their work, they've invested it into YouTube. They have put money into their business, into their company, just for them to turn around and say no. We no longer, we don't need you here anymore. And I think that that is fucking wrong. The appeal system needs more transparency. YouTube gives creators the ability to appeal decisions, and that's a good thing. That's fair. But I think we need much more information about what happens after the button is pressed. Because again, maybe they are doing it fairly. But you can't tell me that you found a whole new reason to age restrict my video in under 3 minutes. And they are on two totally separate levels. Like, on one end, you're telling me that it's fucking suicide, and next you're telling me I've got porn in my fucking video? Like, how? In under 3 minutes, how could you come to that conclusion? So, if a video is removed, I want to know what timestamp triggered the violation, what specific part of the policy applies. I want to know, was the decision made by automation, a human, or both? Because we have the right to know as creators. Especially since if it's all automation, that's a fucking problem. A human should be involved in the process before any violation is submitted, before any video is removed. The a computer should not have any final say on that anything that a human should be reviewing. Well, in general, a computer should never have the final fucking say. But if it was appealed, what exactly did the reviewer reconsider? Why was the appeal accepted or rejected? And if the reason changes between the original decision and the appeal, I want to have the change explained to me, especially when it comes back that quick. I want to know what caused the change. Because otherwise, the creator is left trying to reverse engineer what a system thinks they did wrong. And that's the fucking problem. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what part of the video could have possibly led them to think that. And again, I'm not saying that my videos are clean. They're not. But also, the shit that they're accusing me of saying that I violated their policy, I don't do that shit. I should be able to bully my friends, okay? I understand, don't fucking talk about race or religion or whatever. That's fine. I get that. Don't make jokes about this or that and the other. Yeah. But if you're saying that I violated a policy based on something that I said to my own brother who is currently playing the game with me, or who is currently in the video that I'm making, that's why we need humans. Differentiate between a really dark humor joke versus me and my brother just talking or having a good time. Okay. That's the problem, because something that a fucking computer is telling me isn't right is just a normal conversation to a human. So, but also I want to make this clear that this isn't just about me. And this is where I want other creators to listen. Or even not even creators, viewers, because this affects you too. Because I know I'm not the only person that this has happened to. I'm not the only person who's unhappy with it. You know, there are people out there who have spent years building their channel. I'm one of those. You could be one of those. Thousands of videos, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, millions of views, communities, businesses, entire livelihoods. And when something goes wrong, you're powerless. There's nothing you can do. YouTube's own rules YouTube's own rules state that when a channel is terminated, YouTube can end the creator's ability to earn revenue from that channel and may withhold unpaid earnings. Okay, but here's the problem. I understand that first part. Obviously, if you get fired, you're not getting paid anymore. But you're gonna withhold payment that was already owed to me? No. Absolutely not. Like, at a certain point, for a lot of people, and I get it, I know what you're thinking. Making a video for, hours a day, that's not a real job. And that's fine for you to think that. But you're watching it, and these people are getting paid by sponsors and by ad revenue because you're watching it. So if you don't want them to have that job, or you think it's stupid, you need to stay off YouTube. That's all there is to it. Because the more every channel you watch, almost all these big creators anyway, the way that you keep getting your content, the way that you enjoy it, is because every time you click that video, they get paid. And that's fine. They found something they're good at. I can't hate on them for that. They are good at sitting in front of a camera. They have the personality to make people like them. They make people want to come back every week and see what they're doing. That's great. And that's how they pay their bills, their employees, and, it's how they support themselves. So, when YouTube or a platform in general can remove that income stream, the standard for getting that decision needs to be a little higher. Like, we should be holding them to a much higher standard than just letting a computer decide that, well, now I have to get a whole new job after 10 years of sitting in front of this computer screen talking to you people. There's literally nothing else to be done. Because you can't make that money back. Like, it's. You just. Like, you're done. If you can't contact a human to fix the situation when your channel is terminated, it's fucking terminated. So, with that though, there's another problem, which is moderation. Um, well, moderation isn't the only issue. Discovery is another problem, which is what I talked about during the beginning. Um, I I know this is kind of shitty. I did not practice this. Okay, this was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I really felt needed to be discussed. So this isn't scripted. It's not practiced. This is something that needs to be discussed. And YouTube says its recommendation system uses more than 80 billion signals to determine what people might want to watch. And I understand, you know? I get that. There are more videos being uploaded than any human could ever watch. I mean, millions daily. So, you need an algorithm. I'm not saying get rid of it. But the question that I have is, how does a small creator like me, like you, like anybody else, all those people had to start somewhere. How does a small creator get discovered anymore? Like, let's say I have 3 subscribers, right? And I spend 6 months researching a topic. I write a script, I spend hours recording, I spend another 10 hours editing, I make the best video I possibly can, and I upload it. Which happens. I have made a lot of challenge videos. Well, I say a lot. I've made a few, and I wanted to do more, but they got no views, so there was no point, you know? I spent money on those. I spent. Well, first off, it took weeks of planning, you know? Uh, I had to. I acquired my first sponsorship for one of them, which, I mean, it wasn't a real big deal, but it was a big deal. Uh, Not to mention, it took me probably a week to edit it to get it right. And for what? For what? I barely got anything on that. Half of the videos that I've spent, I mean, days, where I was like, I didn't sleep because I was trying to get them done so I could get them uploaded. there were times that I got so far behind. I mean, I was editing fucking 5 videos at a time, trying to get each one of them right and trying to get them out on time. It was not a fun time. That's actually why one of the reasons that I had left YouTube prior was because I needed a fucking break. I keep getting off track. I know that. I'm just. It's a personal experience that I know I'm not the only one, you know. I'm not the only one who's dealt with it. I'm not alone in this situation. My point is we spend all this time creating. We put all the effort and time into it, sometimes money. And if the system doesn't put that video in front of people who might actually want to watch it, how does that give me the opportunity to prove myself? How does that give you the opportunity to prove yourself? You know, that's the problem I have with a system that's heavily influenced by previous viewer behavior and performance. The system needs data to decide whether something is worth recommending, but a new creator doesn't have that data. So we end up with a cycle where big channels get views because they're big, and they're big because they get views. Meanwhile, a creator with 3 subs might make something incredible and never get the chance to show anyone, you know? So, like, let's look at some of the big ones. You know, we've got Markiplier, you've got Jacksepticeye, you've got even PewDiePie back in the day, you know, he was one of the biggest at the time. Now we've got Mr. Beast, you know, all of these people are getting views because they made it. And they made it because they get views. And like I said prior, you know, I'm not looking to abandon the algorithm. You know, recommendations are important. Algorithms important. You have millions of videos daily. I don't want to watch a gameplay video just to be recommended a video of the Spanish Inquisition of 1246, you know? I just watched a fucking Mario Kart video. What makes you think that's what I want to see? So, but that's the problem though. Is that's the type of shit that's happening. Why am I being recommended something that's completely unrelated to what I just watched? You know, that's the thing is I'm not saying that a small creator whose main focus is like candle making, right? I shouldn't be recommended his videos when I'm watching Let's Plays, you know? So, like, if you're really into Supermarket Simulator, right? You're watching somebody with 1 million subscribers. This video right here should be on your recommended. You know, this video should come up because it's the same thing. So, but that's not what's happening. But basically what I'm asking for is better discovery, you know? Give viewers way to deliberately discover smaller creators, like show me creators under 10,000 subscribers, or show me channels I've never watched, show me videos related to what I just watched, regardless of channel size. You know, if I watch a 2-hour documentary about a subject, I don't want another video from the same 5 giant creators that YouTube already knows, because maybe there's some guy out there with 300 subscribers who spent 6 months making the best video I've ever seen on that subject. That's who I want to find. I want the best video regardless of channel size. Like, and now we've got the AI problem. And I'm not talking about their system. I'm talking about the AI content problem. Because now we've got a contradiction. Like, AI is making it easier to produce enormous amounts of content, and at the same time, platforms are increasingly using AI to moderate enormous amounts of content. That creates a challenge. We need systems capable of identifying dangerous, abusive, fraudulent, or inappropriate content. But we also need systems capable of recognizing context, because context matters, which is what I was talking about earlier. See, a documentary discussing sexual abuse is not the same thing as porn. A horror movie isn't the same thing as someone encouraging real violence. A fundraiser isn't adult content because an automated system misunderstood something in the video. A creator discussing a controversial subject isn't promoting that subject. See, this is the problem. And that is why context is one of the things humans are good at. That's why human review matters. And I bring this up because Boxman just messaged me earlier today. And guess what? One of his videos was just removed because it... Oh, here we go. We think. The exact words of this email.
There is nothing fucking there that is harassment or cyberbullying.
What do you have to say about yourself?
Ready, guys? Ready?
You just want to go home?
Yes, my head is
Are you not having fun with us? No.
Can you go for
No. I'll make sure that
I'll give you a fry.
you'll give me. No, I'm good. Guys, don't.
This shit is bullshit. Like, there was no fucking cyberbullying there.
And they removed it, mind you. They didn't just restrict it or private it. They removed it from YouTube. Okay? We think your content violated our harassment policy. Why did you remove it if you think? Why are we not 100% sure? Before we make that decision. I should be able to appeal that because I do not keep my videos. So now that you removed it and I appeal it and you tell me that it's fine, you were wrong, it made a mistake, I just lost that fucking video forever. So why are we wording these policies or wording these emails that you think I violated it? It's a bowling video, mind you. bowling. The content that contains targeted harassment isn't allowed on YouTube. And see, that's another thing, is it's funny that you say that, because I can't tell you how many videos I've seen that were targeting harassment and harm to individuals that even I have reported. And I get an email back 5 minutes later stating that nothing was found. That you can block this channel, or you can, not see this channel anymore. There were people, and I'm not political in any way. I am not religious in any way. So don't take this the wrong way when I say this. You know, it doesn't determine anything about me. I want to make that very clear, because I already know what's going to happen when I say this. There were people making videos about the Charlie Kirk ordeal, right? And whether you like him or not, that shit's not okay. We should not be justifying the death of anyone. But there were people making fun of that. There were, and so I reported those. And before you say that it was because it's right versus left, whatever the fuck you're gonna say, no. I reported videos that were begging for bad things to happen to Biden, that were begging for bad things to happen to Kamala, Trump. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want my kids to see that. That's not what YouTube is for, okay? I understand why they have the system in place. That's not the problem. But why is it that I can watch literal strippers come up on my shorts feed doing a live show, and you report that? I see somebody talking about how they deserved what happened to them when some bad situation happens, and you're telling me that you found nothing wrong? So, but that's not it. That's not the only thing. Somebody, Hackworth Fire Collection, Hackworth Fire Collection just got his account terminated completely. They apparently reviewed his channel very carefully and confirmed that it violated their community guidelines. And it's their job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. They won't be putting his channel back up on YouTube. Now, Hackworth Fire Collection they were a history preservation channel, basically, and apparently we're not allowed to talk about history anymore either. So, there's that. Now, what is it that I actually want? And what is it that I actually need your help with? The whole point of this video, I know I've gone off on multiple fucking rants and I apologize for that. But this is the important part. I'm not making this video to complain. I'm asking YouTube and Google to fix things. I want transparent appeals. You know, if my video is flagged, I want to know why. I don't want multiple different policies that I may have violated, that you think I violated. You know, if I want timestamps, you know, I want to see the section that you think violated it, and we can, you know, figure out what the issue might be. Because who knows, maybe I said something that could be taken out of context, that may sound bad. Maybe I said something wrong, you know, that I could edit out or fix and re-upload. You know, like if something in a 2-hour video violates a policy, I need to know where it happened. I need to know what you think violated the policy. That's the problem, is you only think it violated. You know, I want a meaningful human review. I want to speak to a representative of YouTube, a support person, not simply a button that says appeal. You know, I want all creators, not just myself. I want all creators to know that someone actually reconsidered the decision. I want explanations, you know. If an appeal changes the stated reason for enforcement, I want an explanation as to why. I don't want an automated email. You know, I want an escalation system. If a creator believes that the first appeal was wrong, there should be a way to request another level of review in serious cases. I want better protection for established creators. You know, all of these big channels who are disappearing, I want them to have better protection, because, like it or not, this is their job. Whether you agree with it, this is how they make their money, and this is how they're going to continue making their money. So, if someone has spent years building a channel without serious violations, that history should matter. When the system evaluates their account, I'm not asking for immunity. I'm asking for context. And I want better discovery for small creators. You know, give creators who don't already have millions of subscribers a genuine opportunity to be discovered. And data. I want data. This is probably the biggest thing. Stop giving vague answers. I want to know how the system is performing. I want to know how many videos are flagged, how many videos are appealed, how many appeals are successful, how often videos are reinstated. I want to know how often does the original reason change, how many channels are terminated. How long do appeals usually take? It should not. An appeal, if it is reviewed by a human, should not take 5 minutes. That is fucking insane. We should be looking at a week, no less, for these appeals. How often do automated decisions get overturned? See, and that's the other thing, is there shouldn't be automated decisions. It should always be a human to make the final decision. Like, I want the numbers. Transparency is not an attack on YouTube, on Google. It builds trust. And that's what they are missing right now. Nobody trusts a multi-billion-dollar company who magically finds a reason to terminate large channels when payday comes around. And don't get me wrong, I am not saying that is, it happens every time. I'm not. But this right here is where you come in. This is where I come in. This is where every creator and viewer needs to step forward. This is the most important part of this entire video. If you've had a video removed and couldn't understand why, if you've been age restricted for something that made no sense, if you've been demonetized, if your channel was terminated, if you appealed a decision and received a completely different explanation, if you've watched your channels reach collapse and you genuinely believe something is wrong, I want you to tell your story. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm not asking you to exaggerate. I'm not asking you to attack YouTube. And I'm not asking you to send me a story because you're angry. I'm asking you to document what happened. Give the dates. Give the emails, the screenshots, what YouTube said, what happened when you appealed, what was the final result. And let's be honest. Tell me if YouTube was right. I want to know that too. I know that getting your shit removed sucks. But we can't get mad if they had a point. And that's the problem, is a lot of times they don't. Because context can't be seen through an algorithm or through a system. This isn't about proving that YouTube is always wrong. It's about finding out how often the system gets things wrong and why it gets them wrong and what happens when it does. That's what Project Fuck YouTube means. It doesn't mean delete YouTube. It doesn't mean YouTube owes me success. And it doesn't mean every creator who gets punished is innocent. It means fuck an opaque system. It means fuck a system where a creator can receive an enforcement decision without understanding exactly what they did. Fuck a system where an appeal can leave you with more questions than answers. And fuck a system where a creator can spend years building something and feel like it can disappear overnight. And fuck a system where small creators can feel invisible because they don't already have an audience. And I just want to end this by saying, I don't want YouTube to fail. I want them to listen. Because this is still one of the most powerful platforms ever created for independent creators, and that's why it matters. Something that you and I need to remember, something that Google needs to remember, something that YouTube needs to remember. We built this platform with our videos. We built the communities here. We spent years creating here. We made this website what it is. You know? So I'm not asking YouTube to give us everything we want. I'm asking them to remember something. that behind every channel is a person, behind every video is someone's time, behind every subscriber is a community, and behind every creator who gets something wrong, there should still be a way to talk to a human being. So if you've experienced something similar, come forward. Tell your story, document it, find the patterns, put the evidence together, and let's ask YouTube to fix the system. Because again, the goal of Project Fuck YouTube isn't to destroy it, it's to make it worth fighting for. And if enough creators stand together and say this isn't working anymore, maybe somebody will finally listen. This has become the home of many communities and of many creators, and it's where it started. Let's remember that it wasn't always like this. When we first started, or well, when YouTube first started, it was ran by one guy. And the whole reason he created the platform was for this. A place where people could be creative. And it's been bought out. And they become sellouts. And we can't stand for that. But I can't do this by myself. You know, I've seen plenty of big creators come forward with their issues, and nothing got fixed. And you know why? Because they stood on their own. They didn't ask for help. They didn't try to start a movement to fix things. They just came on there to complain. And you know what? It didn't matter. It really didn't. Because everything that went wrong with them, within the first hour of their next upload, they still had 500,000 views. They still got paid. They don't care about the broken system because they're not being affected. But a lot of us are. You, the viewer, included. Because one day it could be your favorite channel that just disappears overnight. That's what we need to remember. And we need to bring this forward. You know, don't let me sit here ranting at a screen for an hour and a half for nothing. There's a good chance that this might be my last video. There's a good chance that my channel might be terminated for saying all this shit. There's a chance that this video won't even make it past the upload stage before it gets taken down for some community violation. So, if you see this, share it, and let's try and make this a better fucking platform.